we're going to talk about exercise and why exercise is important. Now, I wouldn't know a person that doesn't know that exercise is important. However, it can be really difficult to stick to. What I want to do is I want to give you some more reasons as to why exercise might be important. And when going through an injury and having issues with exercise, it being a strategy to get you better, or it could be the strategy that you relied on mentally, I want to give you some information as to why exercise is important outside of what we already know. Now, one thing I say to people is your body is a giant piece of muscle, a muscle that needs to move, and we need to move it throughout a range of motion. If we don't move our body through what it's meant to move through, over time, our muscles won't, our nerves won't want to take us there, and we're going to get tighter and weaker in those areas. We're going to get stiffer and more immobile. So when it comes to movement and exercise, it's not just about being healthy and strong, it's about being functional and being human. And our body relies so much on muscular activity, not in a sense of just movement, but to engage in our environment. Our shoulder muscles. There's one reason we have shoulder muscles, and that is because of our hands. We need to be able to engage with our environment with our hands to do things. We very rarely just use the shoulder as a shoulder. So when it comes to that, our hands allow us to work, play sport, hold our partners, hold our animals. The dexterity that comes from our fingers allows us to eat. So when it comes to keeping our body strong, it's not just so that we can be healthy or that we can look a certain way. It's so that our body is able to engage in our environment. The next thing when it comes to exercise is that our brain, this thing that sits on top of our head that we talk about being so complex, our brain is firing all day, every day. It is that computer that is accepting information from our senses, giving our body exported information to move, to do things. It is controlling how we see, view, feel. It's putting things in the back and bringing things at the front so that we can engage with our environment. We can work, we can understand our environment. We can have emotions, we can feel things. If we take out one of those parts of our bodies, let's say our arm, and we can't engage with our environment with this side of our body. I have 4 limbs. That's a lot of brain power in my head is dedicated to this arm. So what I say to people is when it comes to reducing our exercise or not doing exercise, what we're actually doing is we're significantly reducing the brain stimulus that we have coming in from this limb. That is where you look at the benefits of exercise with things like dementia and Alzheimer's and our neurological stimulation. If we don't utilize it and we don't use it, our brain doesn't comprehend that it's still something that we need and it's going to put it to the back. So not only for our muscular activity and our muscle growth and development, but also from our neural development, the way in which our nerves connect to our nerves that connect to our muscles, our brain, etc. So exercise is not only important just for movement, but it's important at keeping our brain extremely healthy. The next thing that exercise is extremely important for is our physiological systems. For example, our digestive system, for our lungs, for our heart, for our reproductive system. Exercise, I'm going to use the digestive system as an example. Our digestive system has its own natural mechanism and way of working. It works with our mouth, it works with our throat, it works with our gut microbiome. It passes then through to our small intestine, our large intestine, but the way in which things move throughout our body seamlessly in a way in which that's optimal is when our body is moving. Movement and exercise encourages blood flow and muscle contraction. Muscle contraction moves things through our system and out of our system. Blood flow and encouraging blood flow to certain parts of our body at certain times is extremely important when it comes to our optimal functioning. So exercise not only is something that's going to maintain our muscle strength, but it's also going to keep our physiological systems healthy. The thing that I talk about when it comes to exercise is something that physiologically has such an important role outside of just good for our mental well-being. We never do exercise and feel worse after. It can be hard, it can be difficult, it can almost be painful. But it always comes with a sense of achievement, satisfaction, and for a moment you can feel like you can just take a breath. Exercise isn't just positive in a sense of mental well-being, but it's regulating for our nerves. Our nerves provide information to our body and they provide information to our brain. And the quicker in which those nerves fire and talk to each other, the more optimally you're going to be able to process information, process your environment, and process your emotions. So exercise is also something that's extremely regulating for our system, for us to be the best versions of ourselves.